This is a production of PBS Charlotte.
Just ahead on Carolina Impact.
Remember when Independence Boulevard wasn't an 8-lane traffic mess? I'm Jeff Sonier. Stick around. We'll take you for a ride out on Independence the way it used to be, back in the good old days.
Plus, from North Carolina to the nation's capital.
I'm a little guy from Guilford County, and it never was on my dream sheet of things I wanted to do.
Danielle Kosir sits down with former White House Chief of Staff Erskine Bowles, recently named the Citizen of the Carolinas. And we'll meet a Hickory artist whose craftsmanship has famous people calling from all over the world. Don't go anywhere. Carolina Impact starts right now.
PBS Charlotte presents Carolina Impact, covering the issues, people, and places that impact you. This is Carolina Impact. Funding for Carolina Impact is provided by the members of PBS Charlotte.
Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Amy Burkett. Ask your friends, what is Charlotte's busiest road? Or its ugliest road? Or the one road they wish they didn't have to drive on? Chances are the answer's the same for all three. Independence Boulevard. That's not exactly what city leaders had in mind back in the late 40s and early 50s when they were planning and building Charlotte's first great so-called crosstown boulevard. Now, Independence carries 70,000 cars a day. By 2030, it'll be 90,000. But in tonight's Remember When segment, we look back at when cruising the boulevard was cool. Carolina Impact's Jeff Sonier joins us behind the wheel on Independence with more.
Well, Amy, if you're going to drive down memory lane here on Independence Boulevard, you need the right kind of car. You know, like this 1966 red Mustang convertible. Oh, yeah.
Mustang Sally.
And our first stop is the kind of place where this car will look and feel right at home.
You better slow your Mustang down.
At South 21 Drive-In, these fresh burgers you order are hot. And these old speakers that take your order?
Cheeseburger all the way with bacon.
What else, sir?
Not so hot.
I'm sorry, sir. Did you say for here or to go?
To go.
For here?
To go.
But that's how they've done it here on Independence since 1955. South 21's famous French fries and onion rings, either boxed up to take with you, or even better, served up on a tray right outside your car window.
We have 3 generations coming here still. Been a drive-in. That was the thing back in the days when it opened up, drive-ins.
Owner George Husiagas explains things are different these days. Independence Boulevard's original drive-in is now more like a drive-on-by.
This boulevard is scaring people away anymore. It's making it hard for people to get here. It's just too fast.
Yep, hard to believe that this road nobody really wants to drive on today was once Charlotte's highway to tomorrow, when the Coliseum was just a billboard and a construction site, when people actually used to walk on Independence Boulevard.
Yeah, 2 lanes, yes. You could walk across Eastway. I would walk across Eastway Drive to go and visit a friend that lived on the other side.
Right across Independence Boulevard, 2-lane road with lots of houses on each side.
When I lived on Independence, we used to ride our bikes to Discovery Place.
Longtime neighbors also remember when the boulevard was home to some of Charlotte's best-known businesses, like the old Krispy Kreme donut shop at what used to be Independence and Hawthorne.
You could not stop without visiting Krispy Kreme, especially with the hot donuts now sign out. So you had to go down to Independence, turn on Hawthorne, make an illegal U, which was so worth getting a ticket for, to get in the door while the hot ones were there.
People there all hours of day or night there. It had a small parking lot, and sometimes people struggled just to find a place to park long enough to get in and get their donuts.
And then there was that kinky lingerie shop with the half-naked mannequins on display at the old corner of Independence and Pecan.
Thompson's Bootery and Bloomery. It went away right after I had gotten here. So I had of course seen the mannequins in the full-size window.
Supposedly at one time he had live models in the windows modeling the lingerie.
We would come up beside it and I would have my children turn their heads and look the other way because The clothing in the window was just amazing, what little there was.
Other fond Independence Boulevard memories include the shopping at Charlotte's first mall and Big Mac's at Charlotte's first McDonald's, both now long gone, and the football Friday nights at Memorial Stadium, now mostly empty. But longtime neighbors also remember the choppy pavement and these narrow lanes, which brought speeding cars in Independence Boulevard dangerously close together. And when the boulevard widened into a more modern freeway, well, that caused other problems, turning once successful East Side shopping centers, like this one, into boarded-up eyesores, and pushing divided Charlotte neighborhoods farther and farther apart.
Independence Boulevard brutalized the city. It brutalized the city. It still brutalizes the city. But it was a product of its time.
Charlotte historian Dan Morrill writes that the building of Independence Boulevard seemed like a good idea back in the late 40s and early 50s to the politicians and to the public.
Automobiles, the selling of automobiles, the multiplication of automobiles became the symbol of the age.
Perhaps you dream about a low, sleek car like the Biscayne.
The idea was that if Charlotte was going to be part of this wonderful new automobile age, it had to have this crosstown boulevard. Nothing was going to stop it. It was a boulder in a teacup. Chantilly's never recovered. Chantilly is still split in half. The old campus of Thompson Orphanage got cut in half. I mean, it was a bulldozer.
But what about all those fond memories we heard about of Independence Boulevard from the 50s and 60s? The late night trips to Krispy Kreme. What about the mannequins?
Yeah, there was something exciting about it. The problem is it can't sustain itself because if you want to move automobiles, that is going to destroy any romance. There is absolutely no romance today.
Yeah, unless, of course, you're back at South 21 looking for a slice of cheese on that burger, or a slice of their famous strawberry pie, or maybe just a slice of life, the way it used to be here on Independence Boulevard. Amy?
Thanks so much, Jeff. You know, I want to take a cruise in that '66 Mustang. Well, right now, the North Carolina Department of Transportation is widening Independence, adding interchanges and bus lanes, and getting rid of traffic lights, trying to keep traffic moving. The project should be completed in October. Total cost, over $100 million. Now compare that to the original cost of just $200,000. Well, our next story takes us to uptown Charlotte, to the Brookstone Schools, a nonprofit which opened its doors 15 years ago. It serves mostly struggling, low-income minority families. Carolina Impact's Danielle Kosir recently visited the school to learn how it's making a difference.
Using colored pencils and crayons, students study vocabulary words.
That looks great.
Fifth grader Daniel Baldwin focuses on completing the assignment, knowing he has to finish school before pursuing the career of his dreams, working as a police officer.
To stand up for people that can't stand up for themselves.
Daniel attends Brookstone Schools. Located in uptown Charlotte, the nonprofit provides nearly 150 students with a faith-based education. Most of these students come from struggling, low-income families.
So I know that in addition to being taught, my child is being prayed for. You remember to put your name on it, Mackenzie. Good job.
Support from the community made it possible for Michelle Baldwin, a mother of 5, to send Daniel and 2 of her other sons here.
There's no way I would have been able to send my children to a private school, a faith-based private school, if we had to pay the tuition.
The $8,500 tuition is funded mostly by scholarships. Parents contribute on a sliding scale based on their income. Last year, donations from individuals, foundations, and churches covered 96% of Brookstone's $1.3 million operating cost, helping back its budget and mission to raise the next generation of leaders from Charlotte's inner city neighborhoods. The majority of the students, nearly 80%, are African American. Meanwhile, Asian Americans make up 11% of the school's population.
The neighborhood that I live in is on the west side. It leaves a lot to be desired. It is a lower income area, and for us, it's home.
It's not 33, it's 55. Go ahead and solve that one out.
Daniel's older brother, John, says he performed below grade level before enrolling at Brookstone in 5th grade. By the time he left, he was an honor student, graduating high school with a 4.0 grade point average. School leaders say stories like these are common. Last year, Brookstone used a national exam, the Iowa Achievement Test, to measure students' progress. The results showed students experienced over a year's worth of academic growth in just 7 months.
It was just really good to have a teacher that cared, to know that I was actually important to her and that I wasn't just another kid. So what are your multiplying?
John still comes back to Brookstone from time to time, volunteering here while attending Wingate University on an academic scholarship, working toward a degree in psychology.
By coming back, I'm showing these students what they could be or what they can do, as in that I'm going to college, and that's something that they can see that John went here and he's doing it, so maybe I can do it too.
With only 25 employees, the school relies on help from hundreds of volunteers and over 150 lunch buddies like Matt McGrath.
Did you play football this past Saturday? Yeah. How was your game?
Who works as a data analyst at Bank of America.
I look at them and actually I see doctors, I see engineers, I see nurses, and it's incredible to see how excited they are about learning.
The program pairs students with mentors like Matt, who met Daniel 4 years ago. Since then, he's come to Brookstone to join Daniel for lunch twice a month.
I like eating with my lunch buddy.
Do you think they're going to make it to the Super Bowl this year again?
We talk about stuff like football, and he likes hockey and stuff like that.
One of the things that I've actually seen change about Daniel is him being more attentive and him actually having a conversation with me. And before he was kind of a little back offish a little bit. He wasn't sure what to do about me. And it seemed like the more time I spent with him, the more time that he's really opened up to me.
One of Daniel's teachers, Elizabeth Melvin, says she's noticed a difference too.
I've seen his confidence grow so much. I think he might have come into 5th grade thinking, this is going to be a big year. I'm not sure if I'm up to this. And just seeing how once he's given support, once he's given opportunity, once he's given instruction, just how much his confidence has grown.
She says she challenges students in an effort to help them see their full potential.
That is why I wake up in the morning. That's why I want to be here, is to really give that gift, whether it's through math, reading, writing, science, geography. It can come through in any class.
One assignment at a time, teachers work to equip students with the skills they need to succeed academically, socially, and spiritually. School leaders say they're grateful for the chance to be a small part of the bigger picture, helping shape the next generation of children from inner city Charlotte. For Carolina Impact, I'm Danielle Kosir reporting.
Thanks so much, Danielle. It's always great to see a program making a difference in our community. Well, we're going to continue that conversation right now with a special guest joining me. We have Steve Hall. He's the Brookstone Schools head of schools. Steve, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having me today.
And fellow Buckeye native.
I'm excited about that as well.
We appreciate you sharing this story with us, and it really is great to kind of uncover hidden gems in our community that are making a difference. You folks are making that difference in these children when they're young. Help us understand a little bit about what that's all about and how that can carry on. Even though you don't have a high school available at this time, you send them out after the 8th grade, but how critical is that toward their success for the rest of their lives?
Well, that's a great, and that's the passion of Brookstone and the passion of the founders was to provide children who wouldn't otherwise receive an opportunity for education and for excellence in character and spirituality so that they could develop into be the full person they've been made to be. And so we start at kindergarten and we go all the way through 8th grade. And at that point we really feel, and we've seen as well, that an 8th grader can then go out into the high schools, whether it be Charlotte Mech or another Christian school, and go out and continue to make that impact because of the basis. And we feel like that we're a launching pad for that transition in their life, and that we've provided the building blocks and the foundation and even some of the walls to support that, and they can go out. And so we've seen that over and over. You saw that with John in the clip, is that they have that sense of giving back and of achievement because it was instilled in them in such a young age.
Now we're talking kids that are in neighborhoods that traditionally have not had the impact of adults that could set a direction or chart a course for them for success in life. How important is it that these are underprivileged, underserved children that are getting sort of that private school opportunity, which usually isn't available because they can't afford to pay for it?
Well, not only is it an opportunity from a private school that has a college preparatory education, but we also surround the school from other people from the community. We could not function without the host of volunteers that give hours, that give donations to these children and spend time with them. So not only are they getting educational capital through the education, but they're getting personal and social capital and spiritual capital through these people that give to them. And so they receive an opportunity of education, but they also receive opportunity of possibilities and of hope because so many people are feeding into them and giving to them and creating this net of support around them, which really sets us apart and makes us unique in the community in that way.
You have some goals for some expansion, looking at possibly having a preschool and an after-school program and maybe even some residential housing. Talk to us about those dreams and those goals.
Yeah, so again, all that stems from really the board and the founders who started this and have been working on it for years now. And then they were people of vision and people that had a heart for this community and for the children. And so what we want to do is make sure we're doing the best job of serving this community and giving people the opportunity to give and support that and get the word out as to what we're doing and participate in that. And so yes, those are some of the goals. We do want to double the school size. So we have 1 grade per class. We want to double to a 2nd grade per class, and we want to do that with excellence. We don't want to just grow to grow. We want to continue to meet those needs. But then also we do have a dream for providing residential housing for at least part of our population that is just really, really struggling and so needs that stability and support that everyone knows a child needs to be successful, to be able to receive the education and the benefits they're getting holistically. And so to provide opportunities for some special considerations and be open to that and addressing those needs as well.
A very large percentage of these students are there on scholarship, correct?
Actually, 100% of our students are there on scholarship. And so our funding is 93% comes from private donations, and then the tuition covers about 7% of it. And we do that on a sliding scale based on where they're at, but every single child is on significant assistance with that.
You pull from a rather diverse area. Talk to us about the communities that you're pulling students from.
Yeah, so it's really quite neat, even in a school of our size. We have a large African-American population, but we also have a Montagnard population that is predominantly refugee families that are coming to the Charlotte area. We have a Latino population that continues to grow, and that's a reflection of the community. And then also we have some African immigrant families that have come to this area. So Charlotte is a great place for people to come and to start their families and for all different types of communities. And so we provide that opportunity that they wouldn't otherwise have for a private education.
We appreciate your input. We appreciate what you're doing in our community and wish you nothing but the best in the new year. Thanks so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you, Amy.
If you'd like more information on the Brookstone Schools, head to our website at pbscharlotte.org. Well, from Reverend Billy Graham to Michael Jordan, each December the Charlotte Chamber honors a Charlottean working to make the Queen City a better place. Carolina Impact's Danielle Kosir introduces us to Erskine Bowles, recently recognized as the Citizen of the Carolinas.
In my mind, I'm gone to Carolina.
Erskine Bowles enjoys walking on the trails bordering his South Charlotte home. At 70, Bowles stays busy, dedicating his life to serving the community, following in his father's footsteps.
And it was Skipper who told Erskine, his son, now it's important for you to add to the woodpile of the community.
And he always said it doesn't matter if you're to the right of his friend Jesse Helms or to the left of Ted Kennedy. All of us in our own way can do our part to make this world a better place.
Yes, I'm gone to Carolina in my mind.
Born and raised in Greensboro, Bowles took his father's advice to heart when he went off to college, graduating from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill with a business degree in 1967. That's where he met friend and future business partner Nelson Schwab.
He's about the best friend you could ever imagine. He thinks about you and cares about you.
After earning his MBA from Columbia University, Bowles started his career as an investment banker at Morgan Stanley in New York. That's where he met his wife, Crandall. The two married in 1971 and moved back to Charlotte, where they raised 3 children, Sam, Bill, and Annie. In the mid-70s, Bowles helped start investment banking firm Bowles Hollowell Connor, then co-founded Carousel Capital with Schwab in 1996. The same year, then-President Bill Clinton appointed Bowles as White House Chief of Staff.
We sat down and talked about it, and he was very worried that he was kind of letting me down. I said, my gosh, you don't have a choice. You have to do this.
Ain't it just like a friend of mine to hit me from behind?
So how did Bowles make the transition from North Carolina to the nation's capital?
It was a fluke. I mean, really, totally a fluke.
Bowles met Mr. Clinton while serving as national president of the Juvenile Diabetes Foundation. The former president told Bowles he signed a bill lifting the ban on fetal tissue research after hearing a story about his sons, who both have type 1 diabetes.
He said, Erskine, this is a pen I just used to sign the executive order lifting the ban on fetal tissue research. He said, I want you to take this pen home and give it to your son, Sam, and tell him today he has hope for a cure. That was it for me. I thought, what strength, you know, what character. And I said, this is a guy I'd really like to work for.
Bowles' experience in financial services prepared him for the political arena, providing him with the framework to take on a bigger task. In 1998, he helped negotiate the nation's first balanced budget in a generation.
That made me feel good. That made me feel like I was doing the right thing to add to the community woodpile.
Bowles ran unsuccessfully for U.S. Senate in 2002 and 2004, winning the Democratic Party nomination but losing the general election. In 2005, he continued his public service career, tasked with coordinating the global response to the tsunami that struck Southeast Asia.
My job was to bring these 69 donor nations and 300 NGOs, non-governmental organizations like the Red Cross, together to get them function as a unit, as one.
Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you just feel the moonshine?
Back in the Tar Heel State, Bowles took on a new role, serving as president of the University of North Carolina system from 2006 to 2010.
And the way he was able to really paint that picture for legislators really caused campuses to understand, you know, what role they were playing, especially in the lives of the students that were attending those universities.
My work at the university was the love of my life. I loved it, and I think we made it a better university and a better place, and created a lot of opportunity for people in North Carolina.
In 2010, President Barack Obama appointed Bowles to serve as co-chair on the National Commission on Fiscal Responsibility and Reform with Senator Alan Simpson. The two formed a plan to reduce the nation's debt, earning bipartisan support.
I just marvel at the contribution that Erskine has made to our country, to step into the White House at an absolutely critical time.
He's recognized as an authority by the two major parties, the leaders of the two major parties, and they all respect Erskine. That's pretty hard to do.
Throughout his life, he's always cared about others and how he can add to the community woodpile.
And I'm on to Carolina in my mind.
Despite his accomplishments, Bowles remains humble. He describes himself as just a little guy from Guilford County who had the honor of serving our nation. Today, he says he's grateful for the chance to teach his own children and grandchildren the importance of serving others. For Carolina Impact, I'm Danielle Kosir reporting.
Thanks so much, Danielle. As you can tell, Erskine has had quite an impressive career, but of all the titles he's held, he tells us his favorite title is Pop. He and his wife, Crandall, have 9 grandchildren, all under the age of 10. Congratulations, and thank you so much for all you do to help our community. Well, we head to Hickory next, where we meet a master craftsman, Eddie Hamrick. This skilled artist has created pieces for politicians, musicians, and famous people all over the world. As producer Doug Stacker shows us, a love for tradition, craftsmanship, and artistry motivate him on a daily basis.
When we start something from a raw piece of wood and see the great beauty of something we can make out of it, beautiful bowls or carving or a piece of furniture. My name is Eddie Hamrick, and I've been a craftsman now 48 years. I grew up in a family of woodworkers. We had 5 kids in the family and we couldn't afford very much. So I had to make my toys so I could play with the other kids. I made my first train out of popsicle sticks and rubber bands and spools from thread. That started a fire that I saw that I could make everything I needed. It's a Martin D45 and it's a world famous guitar. Here, yeah, this is the top one, so that'll be the bottom one. Woodworking is therapy, helps you learn patience. I work with some 80 different kinds of wood. My favorite wood to work with is walnut and curly maple. The different things I've been able to make as a woodworker is everything from a golf club, a baseball bat, to concert violins, banjos, guitars, mandolins, cups and vessels for the church to use in communion, to altars, pulpits, crosses for the churches, furniture for people like Donald Trump and Ralph Lauren and presidents, to doing sculptures and carvings that go in museums, to dolls and marionette puppets like Pinocchio. One thing in my life is teach others. Children grow up and they push buttons. They don't know that what they can create and make from their own mind that they can do. And so being able to inspire those children and others to do the work for themselves, even if a hobby, but using their hands and making things, is a great legacy to leave on. And I know that's part of what I want to do. I'm lucky I have a son that has got the skills and he's going to carry it on for another generation. Now we're going to cove out and go down in to create the bowl. Yeah. But I don't know after that generation how it'll happen unless we teach more. It's been amazing, all of the people that I've been able to do work for. 7 presidents, 4 governors, the Pope, the Queen of England, Andrew Lloyd Webber, Marvin Hamlish, Bob Costas, John Elway, Charlie Daniels, Willie Nelson. Woodworking is a great blessing. Jesus came and he chose to be a carpenter. The greatest reward you can have as a custom woodworker like I am is that people have a dream or something very special in their life and they want you to make this memory. There's a satisfaction that you get when you give that to a person and they cherish that piece. To know that your life goes on through your work.
Thanks so much, Doug. Eddie has even created a reproduction of Thomas Jefferson's lap desk, which is currently on display at the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. For more details about Eddie, look for this story on the Carolina Impact page at pbscharlotte.org. Well, before we go, it's time to announce our 3rd annual PBS Charlotte Community Give Back Contest. This is our way of saying thank you to small area nonprofits doing big things for others. It's a simple entry process for groups who have a budget of less than $1 million. Just head to our website, pbscharlotte.org, click on the Community Give Back link, and write 3 paragraphs. That's it. First, describe your nonprofit's story and mission. Second, tell us about your budget and how many people your organization serves. And finally, share with us how $10,000 in free television exposure on PBS Charlotte could help you. Now, this is not a cash prize, this is exposure. Please email your submission to carolinaImpact@wtvi.org. Well, be sure to put Community Give Back Contest in the subject line, okay? The deadline for submissions is Friday, February 12th. We'll spotlight the 3 finalists on Carolina Impact in the spring, and you'll pick the winner by voting on our website. In the last 2 years, we've had more than 100 nonprofits enter, and we hope to have even more applicants this year. Well, that does it for us this week. From all of us here at PBS Charlotte, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate your time and hope to see you back here again next time on Carolina Impact. Good night, my friends.
Funding for Carolina Impact is provided by the members of PBS Charlotte. production of PBS Charlotte.